Friends, I you want to watch super hit movie The Expendables 3 in English, then you must like this video if you are visiting our channel for the first time. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Friends, in today's video, the movie we're going to talk about is called The Expendables 3. We will talk about what this movie is and where you can watch it, all the interesting facts about this movie in today's video. I am going to tell you, I also going to give you all the information on which OT platform or on which satellite channel you will get to watch this movie. Also, we will talk in detail about the technical department, music department, pre-production, filming, post-production, budget, box office collection of this film. We will also talk about the story of this film, and I will also give you a small review of the story of this film. Apart from this, we will discuss about the facts of this film storyline, star cast actors' performance in the film, and which character has played which role. That's why I request you friends to watch this video till the end, so let's start the video. The Expendables 3 is a 2014 American action thriller film directed by Patrick Hughes and written by Creighton Rothenberger, Katrin Benedict, and Sylvester Stallone. It is the third installment in the Expendables franchise and the sequel to The Expendables 2010 and The Expendables 2 2012. The film features an ensemble cast of largely action film actors consisting of Stallone, Jason Statham, Antonio Banderas, Jet Li, Wesley Snipes, Dolph Lundgren, Kelsey Grammer, Randy Couture, Terry Crews, Kellen Lutz, Ronda Rousey, Glenn Powell, Victor Ortiz, Mel Gibson, Harrison Ford, and Arnold Schwarzenegger. The story follows the mercenary group known as the Expendables as they come into conflict with ruthless arms dealer Conrad Stonebanks, the Expendables co-founder who is determined to destroy the team. The film premiered in London on August 4, 2014 and was released theatrically on August 15, 2014 by Lionsgate. Unlike the first two films in the franchise, The Expendables 3 received a PG-13 rating instead of an R rating, which upset many fans of the franchise. Partly due to negative critical reviews and being leaked 3 weeks before its scheduled release, the film grossed $247.7 million worldwide on an estimated $90 to $100 million budget, becoming the lowest-grossing film of the franchise until the sequel, Expendables, was released on September 22, 2023. Plot: The Expendables, led by Barney Ross and formed by Lee Christmas, Gunnar Jensen, and Toll Road, extract former member Dr. Death, a medic and knives specialist, from a dictator's fortress prison camp during his transfer on a train. They recruit Dr. Death to assist them in intercepting a shipment of bombs meant to be delivered to a warlord in Somalia. Arriving there, they reunite with Hail Caesar, who directs them to the drop point, where Barney is surprised to find out that the arms trader providing the bombs is Conrad Stonebanks, a disgraced former co-founder of the Expendables who went rogue and was presumed dead. In the ensuing firefight, the Expendables kill all but Stonebanks, who shoots Caesar. They are forced to retreat when Stonebanks drops a bomb on them from his helicopter, and Caesar is severely injured. Back in the United States, CIA operative Max Drummer, the Expendables' new missions manager, gives Barney a mission to capture Stonebanks to bring him to the International Criminal Court to be tried for war crimes. Blaming himself for Caesar's injuries, Barney disbands the Expendables and leaves for Las Vegas, where he enlists retired mercenary-turned-recruiter Bonaparte to help him find a new team of younger mercenaries. The recruits include former U.S. Marine John Smiley, nightclub bouncer Luna, computer expert Thorne, and weapons expert Mars. Skilled sharpshooter Galgo asks to be included in the team, but Barney turns him down. The four new team members rendezvous with Barney's rival Trenchmauser, returning a favor for Barney. Drummer has traced Stonebanks to Bucharest, where he is set to make an arms deal. Barney and the new recruits infiltrate an office building Stonebanks is using and, having to kill a few men in the process, including arms buyer Goran Vada, capture Stonebanks. In transit, Stonebanks taunts Barney and explains why he betrayed the Expendables. Barney nearly kills him to shut him up, but despite Stonebanks egging him on, he stands down. Stonebanks' men catch up to them with the aid of his GPS tracker and fire a missile at the team's van. Barney is thrown into a river while Smiley, Luna, Thorne, and Mars are captured by Stonebanks' crew. Barney kills Stonebanks' retrieval team and escapes. Stonebanks sends Barney a video, challenging Barney to come after him and giving him his location in Afghanistan. While preparing to leave and mount a rescue alone, Barney is found by Galgo, who offers his services again. Barney accepts, later accompanied by the veteran Expendables. They rescue the young mercenaries, only to learn from Stonebanks that he has rigged the place with explosives with only 45 seconds left for them to explode. As both the young and veteran Expendables fight one another, Barney convinces them to work together to take down Stonebanks. As the final battle begins, Thorne uses a jammer device to delay the countdown, giving them just under half an hour before detonation. Stonebanks orders the Azmanistan army to attack the building with full force, including tanks and attack helicopters. Drummer and Trench arrive in a helicopter to help, alongside returning Expendables member Yin Yang. The new and veteran members of the Expendables work together to kill Stonebanks' men. When a second wave moves in, Drummer lands on the building to evacuate the team. As everyone makes it to Drummer's chopper, Stonebanks personally attacks Barney after shooting him down. Having been forced to remove the armor and his weapon, Barney and Stonebanks engage in hand-to-hand combat. Both are evenly matched, but Barney knocks down Stonebanks before they both reach for their guns. Stonebanks shoots, but Barney gets the better of him. At his mercy, Stonebanks questions Ross about delivering him to the International Criminal Court. Barney coldly shoots Stonebanks in response. Seconds after Stonebanks' death, the batteries of Thorne's device run out, causing the building to explode and collapse. The team makes it to Drummer's helicopter and flies away to safety, as Barney clings to it from the outside. In the aftermath, Caesar recovers from his wounds, and Barney officially accepts Galgo, Smiley, Luna, Thorne, and Mars into the team. They all celebrate at a bar together. Cast. See also, list of the Expendables characters. Sylvester Stallone as Barney Ross, the leader of the Expendables. Jason Statham as Lee Christmas, the team's knife expert, hand-to-hand fighter, and second-in-command. Antonio Banderas as Galgo, a former member of the Spanish Armed Forces, Croatian war veteran, and an expert sharpshooter. Jet Li as Yin Yang, the team's hand-to-hand combat expert, now working for Trench. Wesley Snipes as Dr. Doc Death, a former Army Special Forces medic, knife expert, and one of the original Expendables. Dolph Lundgren as Gunnar Jensen, the volatile member of the team. Kelsey Grammer as Bonaparte, a retired mercenary and ally of the Expendables. Randy Couture as Toll Road, the team's demolitions expert. Terry Crews as Hail Caesar, the team's barrel weapons specialist. Kellen Lutz as John Smiley, a former U.S. Marine, expert motorcycle rider recruited to the Expendables. Ronda Rousey as Luna Maya, an athletic nightclub bouncer recruited by Bonaparte. Glenn Powell as Thorne, a highly skilled hacker, climber, and drone pilot. Victor Ortiz as Mars, a sharpshooter and lethal soldier used to work at DARPA. Harrison Ford as Agent Max Drummer, a CIA field operations officer and pilot who manages the Expendables. Arnold Schwarzenegger as Trent Trench Mauser, Barney's former teammate and on-and-off-again friend. Natalie Byrne as Conrad's wife. Sarai Givati as Camilla. Robert Davey as Goran Vada, the head of the Albanian Mafia. Mel Gibson as Conrad Stonebanks, a ruthless arms dealer who was formerly the co-founder of the Expendables before going rogue. Production, development, and writing. In March 2012, cast member Randy Couture said a third installment of The Expendables might begin production in late 2012 after the release of The Expendables 2. In April 2012, Steven Seagal said he was offered a role in a third film. In August 2012, producer Avi Lerner confirmed that Nicolas Cage had been signed for the then-potential sequel. He also said that the producers intended to bring back the series' stars, attempting to have Mickey Rourke reprise his role, and had approached Clint Eastwood, Harrison Ford, and Wesley Snipes to play new roles. Sylvester Stallone said, "We are thinking about different concepts. The third one is the hardest. The second is the natural progression. The third, that's when the air gets rare. We're thinking ambitiously about it. You now have to give audiences something they don't expect at all, maybe even going into a different genre." Also in August, Chuck Norris said he would not return for a sequel. On August 13, 2012, Jean-Claude Van Damme indicated that Stallone might include him in the Expendables 3 as Claude Villain, brother of John Villain. On October 31, 2012, it was confirmed that New Image and Millennium Films were in the process of pre-selling international distribution rights for the Expendables 3. On December 19, 2012, it was reported that Jackie Chan had agreed to join the sequel on the condition that he would have more than a minor role. Chan later dropped out of the project due to scheduling conflicts. In March 2013, Stallone confirmed he was writing a script for the sequel and that he intended for the film to be more humorous with moments of drama. Stallone also said that Seagal would not be in the film and that he wanted to cast more young actors in their mid-20s. In April 2013, Stallone announced that Patrick Hughes would direct the sequel. In May 2013, Chan, Snipes, Cage, and Milla Jovovich were announced to be in advanced negotiations to join the film. In June 2013, Lionsgate announced that the film would be released on August 15, 2014. In July 2013, it was reported that actor Mel Gibson would portray the film's villain, and later that month, Stallone confirmed Gibson's involvement. Also in July, actor Kellen Lutz and professional fighters Victor Ortiz and Ronda Rousey were added to the cast. It was revealed that the film would feature several younger and technology-oriented action heroes who clash with the veteran Expendables. In August 2013, it was confirmed that Ford, Antonio Banderas, and Glenn Powell would join the cast, and that Bruce Willis would not be reprising his role as Mr. Church. Willis's lack of involvement was cited as a disagreement over money, with production sources indicating that Willis was offered $3 million for 4 days of shooting in Bulgaria, but wanted $4 million. On September 17, 2013, Kelsey Grammer was announced to be in negotiations to join the film. Filming. Principal photography began on August 19, 2013, in Bulgaria and at the New Boyana Film Studio in Sofia and ended on October 22nd. In September 2013, Terry Crews revealed in an interview that Jason Statham survived an on-set mishap when the truck he was driving plunged into the Black Sea after its brakes had failed. In a November 2013 interview, Randy Couture confirmed that filming had finished and that discussions for a fourth Expendables film were taking place. Music. Further information: the Expendables 3 soundtrack. The film's score was composed by Brian Tyler. The soundtrack was released by La La Land Records on August 12, 2014. Reception. Box office. The Expendables 3 grossed $39.3 million in North America and $175.3 million in other territories, for a total gross of $214.6 million. The film was released on August 15, 2014 in the United States and earned $875,000 during its late-night Thursday screenings from 2,200 locations. It did better than its predecessors, The Expendables, $870,000, and The Expendables 2, $685,000. However, its first showing was at 7 p.m., whereas the previous films had their first showings at midnight. It earned $5.9 million on its first day, below the $13 million opening day of The Expendables and $10 million opening day of The Expendables 2. The film grossed $5.7 million on its second day and $4.2 million on its third day, for a three-day total of $15.8 million. One possible reason for this loss in ticket sales is because the film leaked 3 weeks ahead of its release. However, since most downloads were outside the United States, if every downloading American paid to see the movie, it would have made only $4 million more. Another possible reason was the PG-13 cut, which was meant to attract younger audiences. Only 34% of viewers were under 25 years old, while the less violent cut may have reduced interest from older audiences. Sylvester Stallone later admitted that toning the film down for a PG-13 rating was a mistake. The film was released in China on September 5, 2014, and topped the box office in its first week's release, earning $33.68 million from 231,836 screenings and 6.92 million admissions. Had director Steve James replaced the brief shot of topless women with hundreds of men being machine gunned to death, Life itself might have gotten the PG-13 rating. The Expendables 3 hilariously brandishes. To quote the Waco Kid, Sly Stallone and his band of merry old action stars kill more men than Cecil B. DeMille, yet somehow this is more kid-friendly than bare breasts. In fact, no one in The Expendables 3 takes his shirt off, presumably because Terry Crews' obscenely massive pecs alone would almost guarantee an R. It is genuine farce to follow the gore-soaked prior installments of this franchise with one where people manage to get shot 72 million times, yet never lose an ounce of blood. Throats are slit, and villains are impaled on impressive-looking cutlery with suitably gruesome-sounding effects, yet the bodies may as well be filled with air or Lucky Charms marshmallows. When one considers that The Expendables 3 plays as a torch passing from my generation of action fans to the current generation, that PG-13 is an old man's sly jab at the toughness of young whippersnappers. The audience for the first Expendables grew up on the hard R brutality its stars dished out in the 80s and early 90s. Once the younger actors of today get tossed in the mix, the series suddenly takes a kinder, gentler approach to its extreme violence. This has to be an intentional wink from Stallone and his contemporaries. They know their days are not only numbered as action stars, but probably should have ended long ago. It's no longer just about old-school smash-mouth displays of force in today's actioners. Tech savviness is the new black. As crazy as this sounds, this isn't a hypothesis crafted from thin air. It's actually the plot of The Expendables 3. Barney Stallone hires a new, younger crew after his usual cronies botch a mission. Barney feels his old band of brothers have given enough to the Expendables, so he retires them. Part of the change of heart stems from Barney's realization that Stonebanks, Mel Gibson, a man he once thought he killed, is the target of the botched mission. Stonebanks shoots Caesar crews, sending Barney on the guilt trip that leads to his disbanding of the team. After demanding that his crew enjoy the rest of their lives, Barney embarks on a suicide mission with his younger charges, all of whom are skilled not only in combat, but also in those computer thingies Barney just doesn't understand. Of course, the new kids on the block manage to get kidnapped by Stonebanks, forcing Barney to call his old team back into action. This is a glorious pander to my middle-aged brethren. We've come to the part of the review where I'm supposed to justify my favorable rating by telling you to turn your brain off in order to enjoy The Expendables 3. I'm not going to do that because that's an insult to you, me, and the movie. Instead, I want you to pay close attention to The Expendables 3 because if you're on its wavelength, you'll discover an incredibly self-aware streak of obsessive compulsion running through it. When it comes to nostalgic detail, this is a Russian nesting doll of a movie. Illusions beget deeper illusions, tying the levels together in an almost endless game of 6 degrees of action movie separation. There's a Marvel Universe-sized dollop of slavish devotion for fans of Stallone, Schwarzenegger, Statham, and Gibson. For example, Antonio Banderas co-stars as Galgo, a candidate for Barney's new crew. Banderas and Stallone last appeared as antagonists in the Wachowskis' Assassins. Rather than recreate that character, Banderas instead plays a cross between Puss in Boots and Joe Pesci's Leo Getz character from the Lethal Weapon series. Gibson repays the favor by repeating a line from Banderas' Desperado. In the climactic action sequence, Gibson also gives viewers the chance to see rigs from Lethal Weapon Battle Rambo for the belated title of Craziest Tough Guy 80s Edition. Schwarzenegger repeats catchphrases from Commando, I Lied, and other movies, while Wesley Snipes makes his entrance on a literal money train, minus Woody Harrelson, before reuniting with his nemesis from Demolition Man. Even that PG-13 evokes memories of the rating on the third installment of the R-rated Mad Max series, starring Stonebanks himself. Practically every line and every combination of the older Expendables characters evokes this type of connection, and the movie knows it's doing so. That contributed greatly to my good time. If you choose not to get trapped in the movie's spiderweb of nostalgia, there are still pleasures to be had. Gibson sinks his teeth into his big villainous monologue, and seeing him with his mouth taped is sure to inspire applause. Snipes gets a good joke about tax evasion and several action scenes to remind us that we should always bet on black. There's charming chemistry between Statham and Stallone, and a helicopter-flying Harrison Ford shows up to use the type of language Spielberg and Lucas wouldn't let him use as Han Solo nor Indiana Jones. The younger Expendables are given the Muppet Babies treatment. They're portrayed as mini versions of their original counterparts. Standing out from this bunch is MMA fighter Ronda Rousey, who displays a leadership quality that aligns her with Barney despite her stereotypical entrance fighting several men while dressed for maximum hotness. I hope I live to see the day when a woman open a six-pack of whoop-ass while decked out in curlers and furry mommy slippers rather than a miniskirt and heels. As dopey and bloodless as the action sequences are, they keep the film moving at a brisker pace than its 2-hour-plus running time indicates. The film culminates with a scene so preposterous that, if it is indeed Stallone's swan song in the action movie genre, it's a worthy exit. We've seen hundreds of instances of heroes outrunning Joel Silver-esque fireballs. Stallone outruns an entire building as it collapses from strategically placed bombs. It's no spoiler that he survives, but after this, there's nothing left to prove and no place to go but down. Unlike most film series, The Expendables 3 sows the seeds for its own youthful reboot. Let's hope The Expendables 4 is filled with Rocky III-style montages of Stallone and company imparting expertise before riding off into a calm, explosion-free sunset. This series has run out of nostalgia to coast on, but what a final burnout it had. In the moviegoer's hierarchy of needs, a PG-13 Expendables is about as essential as a Joel Schumacher remake of Tokyo Story. Or, to put it in terms more appropriate to its target audience, you need The Expendables 3 like you need a kick in the crotch, and while this running on fumes sequel may not be quite as painful a thing to experience, it will waste considerably more of your time. From train-crashing start to backslapping finish, Lionsgate's latest and longest showcase for Sylvester Stallone and other aging slabs of B-movie beef. The marquee names this time around include Mel Gibson and Harrison Ford, smacks of desperation and teen audience pandering, from the literally bloodless action to the introduction of a younger, hotter backup team of fighters. Call them the hip replacements. It's an obvious half-hearted ploy to keep the beleaguered series going, when it would be far wiser to heed one character's advice. You know, I'm getting out of this business, and so should you. The Stallone-directed first Expendables, 2010, grossed an impressive $103 million in the U.S. en route to a total worldwide haul of $274 million. Its 2012 follow-up, helmed by Simon West, took a hit domestically, $85 million, but more than made up the difference internationally for a global cume of $305 million. But even without factoring in franchise fatigue and the law of diminishing returns, it's hard to see the new movie, from Australian Helmer for Hire Patrick Hughes, extending the series' winning streak, due in part to an online leak that has already resulted in more than 2 million illegal downloads, a number that will only continue to rise between now and Lionsgate's August 15th stateside rollout. Not to condone piracy or anything, but emerging from The Expendables 3, which at 127 minutes runs considerably longer than its predecessors, you can't help but envy those streamers for experiencing the picture under optimal circumstances, with volume controls and fast-forward buttons at the ready. Popular on Variety. Ad loading. There's a Mero, credited to 3 writers, which is at least 2.5 too many. The script kicks off with a foolhardy mission involving a helicopter, a speeding locomotive, and the first of many outsourced VFX explosions. Once more, we're tagging along with gang leader Barney Ross, Stallone, second-in-command Lee Christmas, Jason Statham, and their ragtag team of battle-scarred fighters who are regularly hired to do the government's dirty work in faraway places. The Expendables ranks have taken a major beating of late, and so Barney decides to stage a prison break and bring back one of the gang's founding members, Dr. Death, Wesley Snipes, who's so competitive and lethal with a blade that he refers to himself early on as the knife before Christmas. Zing. Dr. Death isn't the only original expendable dragged in from some previously unknown and thoroughly uncompelling backstory. Surfacing in time for a chaotic set piece in Somalia is Barney's old frenemy Conrad Stonebanks, Gibson, a hard-to-kill supervillain who manages to slip through their clutches, gravely wounding weapons specialist Hail Caesar, Terry Crews, in the process. Realizing that his trusty teammates, who include Swedish sniper Gunnar Jensen, Dolph Lundgren, and demolitions expert Toll Road Randy Couture are getting too old to keep risking their lives like this, Barney ditches them and, at the behest of CIA officer Max Drummer Ford, recruits a brand new crew of younger, fresher expendables. They're played pretty unmemorably by Kellen Lutz, Glenn Powell, boxing champion Victor Ortiz, and in the token female role, mixed martial artist Ronda Rousey. All of whom face the unenviable task of establishing a secondary rooting interest in a movie where even the leads have trouble holding attention. Naturally, Christmas and company are none too thrilled to find their makeshift family so unceremoniously disbanded for this bunch of newbies. And so The Expendables 3 tries to mix in a few tears with all the testosterone, honoring the depth and resilience of male friendships forged in combat. At one point, you may wonder if you've wandered into Fist Bump the movie, while acknowledging the looming specter of the men's mortality. It's a theme that would seem to blend well with the series' main objective, which is to pay loving, somewhat valedictory tribute to as many fading 80s and 90s action heroes in the same movie as possible. As an actor proudly notes in the press materials, we have Rocky, the Terminator, Indiana Jones, the Transporter, Mad Max, Desperado, and Blade. He seems to have left out the follow-up caveat. And we gave them virtually nothing of interest to do or say for 2 hours. The previous two movies, although barely defensible, were at least enlivened by a sly awareness of their own awfulness and got by on the strength of their no-nonsense R-rated brutality. But that grisly sense of purpose is nowhere to be found in The Expendables 3, which, for clearly commercial reasons, has opted for a more audience-friendly PG-13 rating. A gutless decision that drains the action of its excitement, its visceral impact, and its glorious disreputability. By the time the movie finally arrives at an incoherent endgame set in some fictional Middle Eastern hellhole where editors Sean Albertson and Paul Harb try their damnedest to make sense of a whirlwind of action involving rolling tanks, speeding motorcycles, and dive-bombing helicopters, it's at once impossible to follow what's going on and impossible to care in any event. Stallone asserts his position as the master of this flailing circus by giving himself the film's one genuinely funny line, while Kelsey Grammer adds a touch of class to the proceedings as a mercenary who helps Barney with his new recruits. He doesn't see much action. Dr. Fraser Crane isn't one of our most enduring meathead icons, but following his roles in Transformers: Age of Extinction and the Starz series Boss, it's fun to see Grammer extending his reach into tough guy territory. But perhaps to no one's surprise, it's Gibson who comes the closest to creating a pocket of viewer interest whenever he's on screen. As he did in last year's Machete Kills, the Australian star seems to relish the opportunity to slyly riff on his troubled real-life persona with a derivative but effective portrait of villainy, and to remind us of how much charisma he still exudes in front of the camera. Watching Gibson snarl sure beats watching Ford grimace, or, for that matter, watching Arnold Schwarzenegger pop into the frame every few scenes or so like a 250-pound jack-in-the-box. This is the sort of numbskull non-entertainment that considers it worthwhile to fly in a martial arts superstar like Jet Li and have him sit around firing a machine gun, pausing every so often to deliver the most awkward line readings of his career. Still, maybe better to be marginalized than overexposed. One of the cast's highest-profile additions is Antonio Banderas as Galgo, an ingratiating, overeager assassin whose habit of sharing personal anecdotes non-stop is meant to provide long-winded comic relief, although listen closely for a tragic, potentially loaded reference to Benghazi. Banderas is trying way too hard, but that's borderline refreshing in a movie where too many people seem to be doing the opposite. The Expendables 3 picks up with Barney Ross, Sylvester Stallone, and his loyal roughnecks as they rescue an old crew member, Wesley Snipes, to assist the understaffed Expendables team on what otherwise seems to be a routine mission. However, when their latest job brings Barney face-to-face with a presumed dead acquaintance named Conrad Stonebanks, Mel Gibson, the operation quickly goes south. Barney is thereafter hired by CIA field operative Max Drummer, Harrison Ford, to find Stonebanks and bring him in, alive. The Expendables patriarch decides that he needs some new blood for the job and recruits his ally Bonaparte, Kelsey Grammer, to help assemble a pack of younger, more tech-savvy mercenaries. Can Barney and his inexperienced team capture one of the most dangerous war criminals in the world? The first Expendables movie was a relatively straight-faced throwback to the popular style of machismo action cinema in the 1980s and 90s, while Expendables 2 often bordered on being an intentional self-parody, albeit a rather violent one. Expendables 3, as directed by Patrick Hughes, Red Hill, aims to walk the line between these dual approaches, but goes about doing so in a rather clunky manner. The most devoted Expendables fans ought to still get their money's worth, but even some of them may be left feeling that the series is just running on fumes at this point. Stallone co-penned the Expendables 3 script with screenwriting duo Katrin Benedict and Creighton Rothenberger, Olympus Has Fallen, but the story and dialogue is very much in the vein of previous Expendables films. The final result oscillates from being very po-faced to very tongue-in-cheek, giving rise to unintended camp dramatic sequences, see the Sad Expendables montage, and intended comical scenes. It's an occasionally schizophrenic, if generally amusing mashup. The big issue, however, is that a good chunk of Expendables 3 is devoted to introducing and developing the young Expendables team. As such, the main reason for this property's existence largely gets put on the back burner. Unfortunately, the film's fresh-faced stars, Kellen Lutz, The Legend of Hercules, Glenn Powell, The Dark Knight Rises, and real-life professional athletes Victor Ortiz and Ronda Rousey don't have enough screen charisma yet to overcome their thinly painted characters, so they don't make up the difference. Eventually, The Expendables 3 offers its share of old-school action thrills and fun, yet it has the same problems as its predecessors, and then some. Shoddy filmmaking has always been an issue for the Expendables franchise, and sadly, it's only gotten worse on Expendables 3. To his credit, Hughes doesn't hold back on the gunfire-heavy battles or explosion-friendly action sequences. The only reason this installment is rated PG-13 is because the violence is, for the most part, bloodless. However, his direction tends to feel amateurish. He and director of photography Peter Menzies Jr., The Incredible Hulk, often frame the proceedings in awkward close-ups, resulting in a movie that not only has little sense of space, but doesn't exactly make its aging stars look good either. There are other very basic technical shortcomings as well: poorly lit scenes, dubious green screen backdrops, and so on. Hughes, despite this, still manages to stage a handful of satisfying action sequences and keeps the plot flowing at a steady pace during the build-up to the grand barbecue that is the third act, one centered around a major set piece that in many ways feels like a trial run for the director's upcoming remake of The Raid. Expendables 3 comes closest to delivering on its original promise at this juncture, though, due to, again, weak camera work and slick CGI not being all that well integrated with grittier practical elements, the final showdown is only just passable, even given the sheer amount of fireworks on display. Stallone's Barney Ross is, as in the previous Expendables films, most compelling when he's interacting with his fellow seasoned co-stars, like Jason Statham, Dolph Lundgren, Randy Couture, and Terry Crews. However, due to the sheer size of the Expendables 3 ensemble, these supporting players get very little time to horse around with one another. That said, Harrison Ford and Wesley Snipes make the most of their glorified cameos. Ford does his crusty grump act, while Snipes hams it up as a merc who's been locked away too long. And yes, there is a meta joke about his time in prison. Similarly, it's fun to watch Mel Gibson chew the scenery as the film's main villain. He even gets to monologue, while Kelsey Grammer likewise brings just the right amount of self-awareness to his role. Antonio Banderas also shows up, playing a wannabe expendable who often comes off as the Rob Schneider to Stallone's Judge Dredd, in ways good and bad. Once again, though, it's Arnold Schwarzenegger who seems to be enjoying himself the most. Armed with a wink in his eye, Arnold's clearly quite content to riff on his legacy, wield some heavy artillery for a bit, and then call it a day. When all is said and done, though, Expendables 3 is a mixed bag. It doesn't really work as a passing of the torch, nor does it satisfy as the promised one final ride, and the craftsmanship of filmmaking is still underwhelming. At the same time, there are still enough macho old-timers having a good time and blowing stuff up to make the whole movie perfectly watchable, especially if you can never get enough of this kind of brains-be-damned popcorn entertainment. However, it might be for the best if Sly and company do in fact call it quits on the Expendables movie franchise after this third installment. He listened to the story and watched the scenes to understand what kind of music would make the movie better. Sometimes the music is loud and strong with drums and electric guitars to match the fights and explosions. Other times, the music is soft and slow to match quiet or emotional moments. Brian's music helps the movie feel alive and makes watching it even more fun. Creating music for The Expendables 3 was a big challenge for Brian Tyler because the movie is full of different types of scenes. There are fast car chases, huge battles, emotional talks between friends, and funny moments too. Brian had to write music that could change quickly from loud and powerful to calm and gentle, sometimes in just a few seconds. He used many different instruments like drums, guitars, strings, and sometimes electronic sounds to make the music sound exciting and modern. He also had to work with the director and the editing team to make sure the music matched the timing of each scene perfectly. Sometimes the music had to start or stop exactly when an explosion or a big moment happened. This takes a lot of practice and skill. Brian used computers and special music studios to create, record, and mix all the sounds so they sounded great. When played in the movie theater, Brian Tyler also faced some problems while making the music for The Expendables 3. One big problem was making sure the music did not cover up the voices of the actors. When characters talk, the music has to be soft so the audience can hear the words clearly. Brian had to find the perfect balance between music and dialogue. Another problem was time. Movies usually have a tight schedule, and Brian had to write and finish the music quickly while still making sure it was excellent. Sometimes he had to change parts of the music when the movie was edited or new scenes were added. This meant going back to the studio and rewriting or fixing the music. Hulk, sounds in the movie like gunshots, explosions, and cars. Even with these challenges, Brian stayed focused and used his creativity and experience to make the best music possible. In the end, Brian Tyler's music made the Expendables 3 much more exciting and powerful. His music helped the audience feel the energy of the action scenes, the tension of the battles, and the emotions of the characters. Thanks to his hard work, the movie feels like a big adventure full of sound and heart. Music is a secret hero in every movie, and Brian showed how important it is to tell the story through sound. His story teaches us that music can change how we feel about a movie and make it even more fun to watch. Without Brian's music, The Expendables 3 would not have the same excitement and magic. His work reminds us that creating music for movies is an important and creative job that needs talent, patience, and passion. Production is the word used to describe everything that happens to make a movie from an idea into a real film that people can watch on the big screen. For The Expendables 3, production included many important jobs and people working together to bring the story, the action, and the characters to life. This part of making a movie happens after the story is written and before the movie is finished. During production, the actors come to the set to film their scenes. The cameras start rolling and the crew works hard to build sets, set up lights, make sure everything is ready for each shot. The production team has to plan where and when every scene will be filmed, how to organize all the actors, and how to make the action look as exciting as possible. Without production, the story would just be words on paper. But thanks to production, it becomes a movie full of adventure, fun, and excitement in The Expendables 3. Production was a big challenge because the movie is full of fast-paced action scenes, stunts, explosions, and big fights. The production team had to make sure everything was safe for the actors and stunt workers while still making the movie look cool and dangerous. They had to use special equipment like cranes, helicopters, and cameras that could move quickly too. Follow the action. Production also meant traveling to different places to film. Sometimes they shot scenes in big cities, and other times in open spaces or special sets made just for the movie. The production crew worked day and night to set up each scene, paint the backgrounds, and make sure the costumes and props looked perfect. They had to think about even the smallest details, like where the sun would shine, what the weather would be like, and how the cars and weapons would look on camera. It takes a lot of teamwork and careful planning to make a movie as big as The Expendables 3. Another important part of production is solving problems quickly because making a movie is never perfect or easy. During the filming of the 3, the production team faced many challenges. Sometimes the weather didn't cooperate, like if it rained when they needed sunshine. Sometimes equipment would break or actors would get tired or hurt, and the team had to find ways to keep the movie moving forward. They also had to work with a big group of actors, including famous stars, okay? So they had to plan carefully to make sure everyone was ready and on time. Production is like putting together a giant moving puzzle where every piece has to fit perfectly or the movie might not look right. The production team stayed strong, creative, and organized even when things got difficult, making sure the movie was finished on time and looked amazing. In the end, the production of The Expendables 3 was a huge success because of the hard work and teamwork of many people. Production helped turn the exciting story and characters into real scenes full of action, adventure, and fun. Thanks to production, the movie looks exciting with amazing stunts, great settings, and powerful performances by the actors. It shows how important it is to have a strong team working behind the scenes to make a movie come alive. Production is the heart of making movies, and The Expendables 3 is a great example of what happens when lots of talented people work together to create something special that people all over the world can enjoy. Making a movie like The Expendables 3 starts with a lot of planning and writing before the cameras even begin to roll. Back in March 2012, one of the actors, Randy Couture, said that they might start working on the third movie later that year. After finishing The Expendables 2, around the same time, another famous actor, Steven Seagal, said he was asked if he wanted to be part of the third movie. This showed that the team was thinking about who could be in the new film. By August 2012, the producers confirmed that Nicolas Cage, it's a very well-known actor, had agreed to join the movie. The producers also wanted to bring back some of the stars from the earlier movies like Mickey Rourke. They even tried to get very famous actors like Clint Eastwood, Harrison Ford, and Wesley Snipes to play new characters. Sylvester Stallone, who is the leader of the group and helps write the story, said that making the third movie was harder than the second because they wanted to surprise the audience with something new and exciting, maybe even trying a different kind of story. However, Chuck Norris, another famous star from the earlier movies, said he would not come back for the third one. Later, Jean-Claude Van Damme hinted that he might be included as a new character, named Claude Vallam, which added more excitement for fans. During the middle of 2012, many things were happening behind the scenes. The companies making the movie started selling the rights to show the film in other countries, which means they wanted to make sure lots of people all over the world could watch it. A very popular action star agreed to join the movie, but only if his role was big and important. Fortunately, Jackie Chan had to leave the project because of scheduling problems. He was busy with other jobs and could not fit this movie into his calendar. In early 2013, Sylvester Stallone confirmed he was working hard on writing the script or the story for The Expendables 3. He wanted the movie to have more funny moments mixed with serious drama to make it more interesting. He also said Steven Seagal would not be in the movie and that he wanted to include younger actors in their mid-20s to bring fresh energy and new characters to the story. In April 2013, Stallone announced that a new director named Patrick Hughes would lead the movie, which means he would be in charge of how the film was made. As 2013 went on, more actors were being invited and joining the cast. Jackie Chan, Wesley Snipes, Nicolas Cage, and Mila Jovovich were all talking with the producers about joining the movie. Then in June, the company Lionsgate announced the movie's release date, August 15th, 2014. Around July, it was revealed that Mel Gibson, another famous actor, would play the villain, the bad guy in the movie, which got everyone excited because he is very good at acting tough roles. Kellen Lutz, Victor Ortiz, a professional fighter, and Ronda Rousey, a champion fighter, were also added to the cast. The movie was planned to show a mix of older experienced heroes and younger CXV fighters, which created a cool clash between generations. In August, it was confirmed that Harrison Ford, Antonio Banderas, and Glenn Powell would also join the film. However, Bruce Willis, who played a popular character named Mr. Church in the earlier movies, decided not to return. The reason was money. He wanted more payment than what the producers were willing to offer for his short-time filming. Finally, in September 2013, Kelsey Grammer, a well-known actor, was also in talks to join the movie. This meant the cast was becoming very big and filled with many famous and exciting actors. The writing and development of The Expendables 3 took a lot of time because the team wanted to make sure the story was good, the characters were interesting, and the movie would surprise the audience. They worked hard to balance bringing back old favorites and adding new heroes. This long and detailed process shows how making a big action movie is like solving a huge puzzle where every piece has to fit perfectly to create a fun and exciting movie that fans would love. Filming is the exciting part of making a movie, where all the actors and crew come together to capture the story on camera. For The Expendables 3, filming was a huge job because the movie has many big action scenes with lots of fighting, explosions, and fast-moving cars. The filming took place in different places, including beautiful cities and special sets made just for the movie. The director and the crew worked very hard to make sure every scene looked perfect and exciting. The actors had to perform their roles many times while the cameras recorded every move. During filming, the camera people used different angles and movements to make the action look even more thrilling. Filming is like making a giant live play, but instead of an audience watching right away, the scenes are recorded to be edited and put together later. It was important that everyone on set worked as a team to make the movie look as amazing as possible. During the filming of The Expendables 3, the actors did many difficult and sometimes dangerous stunts. Stunts are special. Actions like jumping from high places, fighting, or driving fast cars that need to be done very carefully to avoid injuries. Professional stunt teams helped make these scenes safe for the actors. Because the movie has so much action, the filming schedule was very busy and often long, with the crew working many hours each day. The production also used special equipment like cranes and drones to capture the scenes from high up or moving quickly around the characters. Okay, this made the movie feel bigger and more exciting. The filming had to be carefully planned so that every explosion, punch, and chase scene looked real and impressive. Sometimes they had to film the same scene many times to get it just right, which required patience and teamwork from everyone on set. Filming The Expendables 3 was not without its challenges. Sometimes the weather caused problems if it rained, when they needed sunshine, or if it was too cold or hot for the actors and crew. Other times, technical problems with cameras or equipment slowed things down because the movie had a large cast with many famous actors. Organizing their schedules and making sure they were all ready for their scenes was tricky. The director and crew had to be flexible and creative to solve problems quickly, so filming could continue smoothly. Even with these difficulties, the team stayed focused and worked hard to finish the movie on time. Filming is a big adventure behind the scenes, full of hard work, fun, and sometimes surprises. In the end, filming The Expendables 3 brought the story and characters to life in a way that words on paper never could. Thanks to the careful work of the actors, director, camera crew, stunt teams, and many others, the movie looks exciting and action-packed. The filming process helped create the thrilling fight scenes, dramatic moments, and heroic adventures that fans love. Without all the hard work during the filming, The Expendables 3 would not be the powerful and fun movie it is. Filming shows us how teamwork, planning, and creativity come together to make a story jump off the screen and into our imaginations. Music is one of the most important parts of making a movie, and in The Expendables 3, it played a huge role in making the story more exciting and fun to watch. The music for this movie was created by a very talented composer named Brian Tyler. His job was to write all the background music that plays during the movie, also called the score. This music helps tell the story without words. For example, when there's a big fight or a fast chase, the music sounds loud, strong, and fast to make you feel excited and on the edge of your seat. When there is a sad or serious moment, the music becomes softer and slower to help the audience feel the emotions of the characters. Brian Tyler used many different instruments like drums, guitars, and strings to create music that matched every part of the movie perfectly. His music helped make the Expendables 3 not just a movie you watch, but an adventure you feel deep inside. Creating the music for Expendables 3 was not easy because the movie has so many different types of scenes. There are huge explosions, quiet conversations, funny moments, and heroic battles, and each needed its own special kind of music. Brian Tyler had to think carefully about what sounds would work best for every scene. Sometimes the music had to change quickly from loud and powerful to soft and gentle in just a few seconds. And that takes a lot of skill and practice. To make the music, Brian and his team used special computers and recording studios where they could play instruments and add electronic sounds. This helped make the music sound modern and exciting. He also worked closely with the director and editors so that the music matched the timing of each scene perfectly, like starting right when an explosion happens, or slowing down during a calm moment. This teamwork made the movie feel alive and thrilling. While working on the music, Brian Tyler faced some problems, too. One challenge was making sure the music didn't cover up the voices of the actors when they were talking. This is important because you want to hear the story clearly, so Brian had to find the perfect balance between loud music and soft music. Another problem was time. Sometimes movies have to be finished quickly, and Brian had to create amazing music even with tight deadlines. Also, when the movie was edited and changed during the final stages, Brian sometimes had to change his music to fit the new scenes. This meant going back to the studio and rewriting or adjusting the music. Even with these challenges, Brian worked very hard and used his talent to make sure the music was perfect and help tell the story in the best way possible. In the end, the music in The Expendables 3 made the movie much more exciting. dramatic, and fun to watch. Thanks to Brian Tyler's hard work, the music helped bring the characters and action scenes to life in a way that pictures alone could not do. The music gave the movie energy during the fights, tension during the dramatic moments, and heart during the quiet times. It shows how music is like a secret helper in movies, making us feel things and understand the story better. Without Brian's music, The Expendables 3 would not be as thrilling and memorable. His work teaches us how important music is in movies and how it can turn a simple story into an amazing adventure that people all over the world enjoy. The release of a movie is the special time when it is finished and ready for people all over the world to watch. For The Expendables 3, the release was a very important moment because it meant all the hard work from the actors, directors, and crew could finally be shared with fans. The movie was planned to be released in theaters, which are places where people go to see new movies on big screens. Before the release, the team made trailers, posters, and ads to tell people about the movie and get them excited to watch it. The release date for The Expendables 3 was set for August 15th, 2014. So fans marked their calendars and waited eagerly. The release is like a big celebration for everyone who worked on the movie, because their efforts have come to life and can now be enjoyed by audiences everywhere. When The Expendables 3 was released, it came out in many countries around the world at almost the same time. This is called a global release. It's important because fans from different places get to see the movie together, creating excitement everywhere. The release also means the movie is shown in different formats, like in theaters, on DVDs, and later on streaming services where people can watch the movie at home. Sometimes movies are also released in special events or premieres where the stars and filmmakers come to meet fans and talk about the movie. The release helps the movie reach a big audience, including families, kids, and adults who love action and adventure. It's the moment when all the stories, action scenes, and music come together for everyone to enjoy. Releasing a big movie like The Expendables 3 is not always easy. The producers and marketing teams have to work hard to make sure the movie gets good attention and that people want to see it. They create exciting trailers and organize interviews with actors and directors to tell the world about the hit movie. They also decide the best day to release it so that many people can go to theaters. Sometimes, if the release is too early or too late, fewer people might watch the movie. So picking the right date is very important. For The Expendables 3, the release team worked hard to make sure the movie came out at the right time in summer, which is a popular time for big action movies. This helped the movie attract many fans who were ready for an exciting adventure on the big screen. After the release, the movie was watched by millions of people, and many shared their opinions about it. Some loved the fast action and new characters, while others compared it to the earlier movies in the series. The release also helped the movie make money, which is important because it pays back everyone who helped make it and allows the team to think about making more movies in the future. The release of The Expendables 3 showed how a movie travels from an idea on paper to an exciting adventure that people all around the world can watch and enjoy. It is a special moment that marks the start of the movie's journey into the hearts of fans everywhere. Marketing is how a movie tells the world about itself before it is released. So lots of people get excited and want to watch it. For The Expendables 3, the marketing started many months before the movie came out. The very first thing they showed to fans was a short teaser trailer in December 2013. A teaser trailer is like a tiny preview that gives a quick look at the movie. Without showing too much, this teaser focused on showing all the famous actors together because the movie has a huge team of action stars. People love seeing their favorite heroes in one movie, so this helped build a lot of excitement. Then in early 2014, At a big event called CineaCon, the movie's official poster was shown. A poster is like a big picture that tells people what the movie is about. This poster was very simple but powerful, showing the cast in a cool way on a white background, which was a bit different from what fans had seen before. In April 2014, the marketing team worked very hard to spread the word even more. They released 16 different posters, each one showing a different character from the movie. These posters were shared on 4 different websites so that more people could see them. This way, fans could learn about all the heroes and their special skills. The next day, the first full trailer with real scenes from the movie came out. This trailer was called a roll call trailer because it introduced many characters one by one, almost like taking attendance in a big class full of stars. It made people very excited to see how all these heroes would work together in the movie. Then at a famous event called the Cannes Film Festival, the movie's producers organized a big party to promote The Expendables 3. Many of the stars like Sylvester Stallone and Arnold as Schwarzenegger were there. And they even drove tanks down the streets to show how action-packed the movie would be. This event helped get a lot of attention from the news and fans around the world. In June 2014, the marketing kept going strong with new trailers and videos. One special TV promo focused on some of the younger new actors joining the team like Kellen Lutz, Ronda Rousey, and Victor Ortiz. This showed how the new team members brought fresh energy and skills that worked alongside the veteran heroes like Stallone and Kelsey Grammer. On the same day, Sylvester Stallone shared a behind-the-scenes video on Twitter, which is like a little sneak peek showing how the movie was made. This made fans feel closer to the movie and its stars. Later that month, another longer trailer was released, giving viewers their first real look at the villain played by Mel Gibson and showing more of the story. Around this time, a new big banner was created featuring 17 of the cast members, showing the whole team ready for action. These posters and trailers helped fans get to know the characters and made them even more excited to see the movie in theaters. As the release day got closer, the marketing team kept sharing new trailers on TV and online. Some trailers showed new footage and others reminded fans of the exciting scenes already seen before. One special trailer was even made to celebrate the 2014 FIFA World Cup, a big soccer event to catch the attention of people watching the games. At another big event called Comic-Con, the marketing team released 16 new colorful character posters in a fun pop art style, which made the heroes look even cooler. All these efforts showed how important it is to keep fans excited and talking about the movie before it comes out. Marketing for The Expendables 3 was a big job that involved many people working together to make sure everyone knew about the movie and couldn't wait to watch it on the big screen. When a movie is finished, get something called a rating. A rating is a label that tells people if the movie is okay for kids, teens, or only adults to watch. It helps parents and families know what kind of content is in the movie, like if there is too much violence, bad language, or scary scenes. The Expendables 3 is an action movie with lots of fights, loud explosions, and intense scenes, so it had to be rated very carefully. The first 2 Expendables movies were rated R, which means restricted, and only people aged 17 or older could watch it without an adult. But when they made The Expendables 3, the people who created the movie wanted more families and younger teens to be able to see it. So they worked to make the movie a little less violent and gave it a PG-13 rating instead. PG-23 means parents, strongly cautioned, and is usually okay for kids over 13 years old with their parents. Guidance changing the rating from R to PG-13 was a big decision. The people who made the movie hoped that more people would come to watch it in theaters, especially teenagers who couldn't see the first 2 movies. To do this, they had to make some changes during filming and editing. Oh God, They removed some of the blood, toned down the violent scenes, and made sure the movie wasn't too scary or harsh, even though there were still lots of action scenes and big battles. They made sure it didn't show too much, so the rating could be lowered. This helped make the movie available to more people. But it also made some fans unhappy. Some people liked the older R-rated style because they felt it was more intense and exciting. Still, the movie team believed the PG-13 version would bring in more viewers and make the story more fun for everyone, including younger audiences who love action. Heroes, the people who give out ratings, are called the Motion Picture Association, MPA. They watch every new movie and decide what the rating should be. They look at things like the number of fights, if there's strong language, how scary it is, or if there are scenes not good for kids. For the Expendables 3, the MPA watched the movie and gave it a PG-13 rating for action, violence, and some bad language. That meant families and teens could now go see the movie together, but parents were still advised to be cautious. This rating was shown in all the trailers, posters, and ads so that people would know before watching ratings. Ratings are very important because they help protect younger viewers while still letting them enjoy the fun and excitement of a good action movie. In the end, the rating of The Expendables 3 played a big role in how the movie was shared with the world. It helped bring in more people to the theaters, especially teens who love action, cool heroes, and big explosions. While some older fans missed the more intense style of the first two movies, the PG-13 rating helped make this third movie open to a wider audience. It shows how a movie's rating can change the way a story is told, how it is shown in theaters, and who gets to enjoy it. The rating is like a key that helps decide how far a movie can go and how many people it can reach. Expendables 3. The PG-13 rating was a big part of its journey, helping it become a fun action movie that could be enjoyed by more families and young fans all over the world. Before a movie comes out in theaters, the filmmakers work very hard to keep it safe and secret. This way, when it is finally released, people can enjoy it for the very first time in the cinema. But for The Expendables 3, something very bad happened. On July 25th, 2014, 3 weeks before the movie was supposed to be shown in theaters, a copy of the movie was stolen and shared illegally on the internet. This was not just a short clip or a trailer, but the full movie in DVD quality, which looked very clear and was easy to watch. In just one day, over 189,000 people downloaded it for free without permission. That number grew very fast, and after only 1 week, it was believed that over 2 million people had downloaded the stolen copy. This kind of illegal sharing is called piracy, and it hurts the people who worked so hard to make the movie because they lose money and support from fans. The studio that made The Expendables 3, called Lionsgate, found out quickly that the movie had been leaked online, and they were very upset to protect their movie. On July 31st, 2014, Lionsgate went to court in California and filed a lawsuit against 10 unknown people who were responsible for stealing and sharing the movie online. They explained to the judge that someone had taken one digital copy of the film and uploaded it to file-sharing websites, places where people can download movies without paying. Lionsgate also sent letters to the owners of websites like LimeTorrents.com, Hulkfile.eu, Play.2 to Swangshare.com, BillionUploads.com, and SMPPR.com, asking them to take the movie down and stop the illegal downloads. But these websites didn't answer or help. Because of this, Lionsgate took even more legal steps to fight back and stop the piracy. One of the websites, Hulkfile.eu, was hurt badly by the lawsuit case. The company behind the site said they had no choice but to shut down completely in August 2014. This meant that nobody could use Hulk File anymore, all because of the stolen movie. Later on in June 2015, Lionsgate reached a settlement, which means an agreement with the people who ran the website Played 2. This website had also helped share the leaked movie, and Lionsgate made them pay money and stop sharing the film. This situation showed how serious the problem of piracy is and how it can cause real trouble for that. Websites that do not follow copyright laws. Sharing movies without permission is not just wrong, it's also against the law, and the people who do it can get in big legal trouble. Finally, in March 2016, the California court made an official decision. It gave a default judgment, which means the court punished the people who didn't show up or respond to the lawsuit. 3 websites, torrents.com, swankshare.com, and mppr.com, were each ordered to pay $150,000 in fines. But there was a big problem. These websites were not based in the United States, so collecting the money was very hard. In fact, by 2016, only Limrants was still working and the others had disappeared. So, even though Lionsgate won the case, it was not easy to get justice or fix the damage. This whole story teaches a very important lesson. Stealing movies and sharing them without permission is not fair. It hurts the creators and it can cause serious legal problems. People should always watch movies the right way by going to the theater, buying them, or using safe legal streaming services. After a movie finishes playing in theaters, it doesn't just disappear. That's when something very special happens, becomes available for home media. This means people can watch the movie in their own homes with their families on their TVs, computers, or tablets. For The Expendables 3, home media was a very important part of its journey. After it was released in cinemas around the world, fans who missed it or wanted to watch it again had the chance to buy it. The movie was released on DVD, Blu-ray, and digital download. This allowed people to watch all the exciting action scenes, big explosions, and their favorite heroes over and over again. Watching movies at home is a great way for families to spend time together, and it lets people pause, rewind, and enjoy every little moment of the film at their own pace. The home media version of The Expendables 3 wasn't just the regular movie. It came with lots of bonus features that made the experience even more fun. These extras included behind-the-scenes videos which showed how the movie was made, how the actors trained, and how the stunts and action scenes were filmed safely. There were also interviews with the stars like Sylvester Stallone, Jason Statham, and Arnold Schwarzenegger. These interviews helped fans learn more about the characters and what it was like to work on such a big action movie. Some versions of the home media even included an extended edition, which means it had extra scenes that were not shown in theaters. These bonus clips gave fans more of the story and helped them understand the characters and the plot better. It was like getting a special secret look inside the movie. Releasing The Expendables 3 for home viewing was also very important for the movie studio. Lionsgate. After the movie finishes its time in theaters, selling copies for home use helps the studio make more money and reach even more fans. Many people prefer watching movies at home because it's more comfortable, especially for kids and families who might find theaters too loud or crowded. Home media also allows people in different countries and towns, even small ones, without big cinemas, to watch the movie whenever they want. This way, The Expendables 3 continued to grow its fan base even after it left the big screen. It became a favorite for many who liked heroic teamwork, fast action, and strong characters. In the end, the home media release of The Expendables 3 made sure that the movie didn't just stop after its theater run, it kept living on in homes all around the world. Kids who love adventure stories could now watch it with their parents, learn about the actors, and enjoy the action anytime. It also helped people learn about the hard work behind movie making through the special features. Home media is like giving the audience a chance to own a piece of the movie and enjoy it forever with DVDs, Blu-rays, and digital copies. The Expendables 3 became part of many home movie collections, bringing action, fun, and teamwork right into the living room. After The Expendables 3 was released, people from all over the world watched it and began to share their thoughts and opinions. Okay, this is what we call the reception of a movie, how fans and movie critics reacted to it. Some people were excited to see so many famous action heroes together on the big screen like Sylvester Stallone, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Jason Statham, and many more kids and families who love action scenes, cool gadgets, and brave characters. Oh, really enjoyed the movie because it was packed with explosions, teamwork, and thrilling missions. They liked how the older action heroes teamed up with younger fighters to save the day. For some fans, it was like watching a superhero team of real-life action stars working together. They were happy just to see their favorite characters back in action. But not everyone felt the same way. Some movie critics, people whose job is to review films, thought that the Expendables 3 was not as exciting or fresh as the earlier movies in the series. One big reason was the change in the movie's rating. Unlike the first two movies, which were rated R for older viewers, this one was made PG-13, so younger fans could watch it too. That meant the movie had less intense fighting and not as much of the gritty action that older fans were used to. Some critics said the movie felt too safe and not wild enough for a big action film. They also felt the story was a bit too simple or predictable. While some fans didn't mind this at all and just enjoyed the fun ride, others said they missed the edge and excitement from the first two movies. The box office performance. How much money the movie made in theaters was also a big part of the reception. The Expendables 3 made less money than the previous movies in the series. One reason for this was the leak of the movie online before it was released in theaters. Millions of people downloaded it illegally, which hurt the movie's ticket sales. This made it hard for the movie to earn as much as expected. Even though many fans went to the theaters to support it, the damage was already done. Some people also felt there were too many characters and not enough time was spent on each one. Even with big stars like Mel Gibson, Harrison Ford, and Wesley Snipes joining the cast, the movie didn't shine as brightly as the first two did in terms of earnings. Even though the movie had mixed reviews, many fans still loved the action, the big cast, and the idea of old and new heroes working together. The fun of The Expendables 3 was in seeing so many powerful, brave characters fighting side by side and using teamwork to defeat the bad guys. The movie became part of a bigger action series that many fans continue to enjoy today. In the end, the reception of the movie showed that while some people wanted more from the story or action, others just loved watching their favorite heroes come back one more time and some information about it. How do you like our today's video? Please let us know by commenting. And if you like this video, please like it, share it, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching.